What is up, YouTube? Noezone here, and today I'm going to be telling y'all what I think of the newest film in Sony's Spider-Verse trilogy, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It is directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson, written by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Dave Callaham, and stars Shameik Moore, Hailee Steinfeld, and Oscar Isaac. And in this sequel, Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. And when the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero. But that's basically the rundown of the synopsis before I get into what I think of the film, and this will also be a spoiler-free review. Starting out with the story the writers whipped up for this movie. And I really enjoyed how much this film focused on Spider-Gwen in comparison to the first one, because her story is probably one of my favorite things about this sequel. I just really connected with the themes of acceptance and the parental relationship issues going on in it, and her chemistry and relationship with Miles got even stronger in this. And speaking of the man himself, Miles Morales, he also gets a great continuation to his story as well. And what made his so interesting to me is that it's a coming-of-age story for both him and his parents, which is a pretty cool change of pace from all of the younger superhero stories that we've been getting lately. Also, if you're one of those haters that say that Miles Morales is not Spider-Man, this movie will either change your mind or it will absolutely call you out on it. I also really liked how the screenplay kept me on the edge of my seat throughout the entire runtime, and there are some moments in this movie that will absolutely blow your mind as they unravel. But next, I want to talk about the voice acting. And Hailee Steinfeld as Spider-Gwen is my favorite performance in the entire movie. She absolutely kills it in every scene that she's in, and she especially does towards the end of the movie. Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, aka Spider-Man, is a close second though, and I really felt like he brought more maturity to Miles' voice and cadences with his performance, and he really brings his A-game to the emotional scenes. Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, was also a great performance, and he played Miguel perfectly as this badass imposing character, while showing how crazy he can be as well. Jason Schwartzman as the Spot was a surprisingly amazing villain performance, and I really loved how he changes the way he voices the character throughout the movie as he becomes a bigger threat. Man's really had me looking like this Steve Harvey meme right here. But that's all I can say about him though without giving any spoilers. But next I want to talk about the characters. And while I really do love the cast of characters in this one, especially Spider-Punk, he's the MVP of this film, I still think the first movie has a slight edge in that category. If I'm being honest though, it's like comparing a perfect cast of characters to a slightly more perfect cast of characters, so it's a win either way. But I will say that the cameos and references in this film are absolutely insane. And just me saying that statement alone doesn't even do some of them justice, especially if you're a diehard Spidey fan. Like at times it really felt like No Way Home on steroids. But next I want to talk about the direction and visuals. And when I tell you that this film has some of the best animation that I've ever seen, I really mean that. The different styles and color palettes that they used in each Spider world are just mind-blowing at times. Especially in Spider-Gwen's world, where the animators decided to cook us a full course meal for our eyes to enjoy. But I will mention that my first watch of this movie was a late night showing, and with very little sleep it started to get nauseating at times. But on my second watch during the daytime I had zero problems. Basically the moral of the story is to not watch this film without your full 8 hours. But next I want to talk about the sound. And this might be my least favorite part of the film, but it's not really saying much at the end of the day, because during both of my watches the sound was very low and mixed very poorly in some areas, and apparently I wasn't the only one experiencing this issue. But towards the end of the movie the mix got way better, and I'm sure that the whole thing will be fixed by the time the physical copies get released. But on the other hand, Metro Boomin absolutely cooked with this soundtrack as expected, with Calling and Hummingbird being my favorite so far. But it's still not better than the first movie soundtrack in my opinion. There are just way too many bangers on that one to be topped. Unless Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out swinging with its soundtrack next year, of course. The score and character themes were also amazing as well, with my favorite easily being the Spider-Man 2099 theme, and it's honestly up there with the Prowler theme from the last film. It just sounds so badass and it's very fitting for Miguel's character. But next I want to talk about the pacing. And this film really has a great pace from start to finish that made the 2 hour and 16 minute runtime fly by. I will say that the ending does drag out a little bit due to it being a two-parter and having some storylines with no conclusion. But overall that didn't really bother me much, so the pacing is still a major positive for me. But next I want to talk about the emotional value. And like I kind of alluded to earlier, the emotions that this movie made me feel were all over the place in the best ways possible. Gwen's entire character arc made me cry by the end of it. Miguel's bitterness made me feel hatred and sorrow towards him at the same time. And Miles has a straight up triumph of a Spider-Man character arc that is probably my favorite one to date. And I can't wait to see what they add to it in Beyond the Spider-Verse next year. But next I want to talk about the entertainment value. And I think in terms of entertainment, this film definitely surpasses the first one in every way possible. Even with the humor, and that's kind of crazy to say because Into the Spider-Verse is a very funny comic book movie. The action scenes are also bigger and better in every aspect. The animation, as I said earlier, kept me in awe of everything that I was watching. And the character moments left me wanting Beyond the Spider-Verse to play back to back with this film. So this category would definitely get a perfect score for me at the end of the day. But now to get to my overall thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse. And I think that this movie is a straight up masterpiece in a lot of categories. It has some of the best and most unique animation that I've ever seen in a comic book movie, or just even a movie in general. The characters that I already loved from the first film solidified themselves as some of my favorite Spider-Men and women that have appeared on the big screen, especially Shameik Moore as Miles Morales as Spider-Man and Hailee Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy Stacy Spider-Woman. This film also may end up being my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my Spider-Man movie ranking video. I absolutely loved Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man 2099 and Jason Schwartzman as the Spot, and I was genuinely on the edge of my seat for most of the runtime because of them. I also really enjoyed how much bigger and more ambitious this film went with the story without it feeling like it was doing too much, like some other Spider-Man films have done in the past. Overall though, Across the Spider-Verse left me wanting Beyond the Spider-Verse to come out right this second, and I literally can't wait to see the story's conclusion next year in March. But all of that leads to my overall scoring of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where I gave the story a 5 out of 5, the acting a 5 out of 5, the characters a 5 out of 5, the direction a 5 out of 5, the visuals a 5 out of 5, the sound a 4 out of 5, the pacing a 4.5 out of 5, the emotional value a 5 out of 5, the entertainment value a 5 out of 5, a casual score a 5 out of 5, and all of this adds up to be 48.5 out of 50 points. But I mean, that's close enough to a 50 out of 50, so I'm gonna give it 5 stars. And I think that this is the must-see movie right now, along with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which are both my top 2 movies of the year so far. But anyways, if you enjoyed my review, make sure you leave a like on the video. It really helps out the channel a lot. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more content like this. Make sure you share the video with a friend if you think they would enjoy it as well. Leave a comment with your thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Noezone. And as always, guys, it's been Noezone. Peace.